Welcome back to another episode of the Hashad Show. Now for this show, we have another young lady, and she pretty much going to talk about her struggles. She also has social anxiety, and she has a hard time meeting people. She would like to meet people, and she would like to have friends, but at the same time, she kind of enjoys her alone time and being an introvert. Okay, now without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it and see what she has to say.
It's Saturday at 6 p.m. and I'm sitting alone in my apartment at my desk staring at my computer. Like 99.999% of every other Saturday. And I went to get a pizza because I still don't know how to eat right. And, you know, Dartmouth is graduated or graduating, and this always happens when I drive in on the weekend to get my unhealthy food that I eat alone in my apartment, and I see all of the Dartmouth students in their really cute outfits, walking around downtown, holding hands, walking down to the river to swim, walking to their apartment, sitting out on the green with friends, stuff to do, or going back to their dorms so they can probably do stuff later because it's a Saturday. And I get my pizza and I go back to my apartment because I don't have any friends.
Okay, so this young lady mentioned that when she's out in town, she sees everyone else with their friends having a good time. Meanwhile, she gets her food, her pizza or whatever, returns to an empty apartment, and she eats her food in complete solitude. And while she's doing that, she's just wondering, why can't she be like the other kids? Why can't she be like the other students? Why can't she be with a group of friends having a good time? Why does she have to be in an apartment completely by herself eating food? Which that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I can understand why she's young, okay? So she wants to be like the other students, the other kids or whatever. But let's get back into it and see what else she says.
And honestly, I don't think I've ever had friends, not like real friends. I mean, obviously I had like friends in high school and college, but it was the most superficial level.
And you know, that's just like being an adult working a normal job. A lot of those people, your acquaintances, you might be cool with those people. You might even see them as friends, but once you leave that job or you move on, a lot of those people, I'll say the majority of those people, you won't talk to again. Now, maybe, just maybe, you might remain in contact with one or maybe even two people from that job. But for the most part, all those people, you're not going to talk to them again. So it's kind of like that with school. Okay, you'll be friends with a few people. Well, no, let me say that differently. You might be friends with a lot of people, but once you leave, once you go into the next grade or you go to a different school, most of those people you will not remain in contact with. You might have one or two good friends that you're real close to that you might remain in contact with, but the vast majority of those people, they're going to be complete strangers once you move on. And it's like that not only in school, but just in normal life. Like I said, with a job you might have. Okay, you might feel as though you're friends with a lot of these people. You might feel as though you're cool with them, but as soon as you switch jobs, go somewhere else, that relationship with those people are going to be over with for the most part. Like I said, you might have one good friend you're real close to. That's like your brother or your sister. If that, they might not even be that close to you, but I'm just saying you might have one good buddy that you're real close to, but everyone else, no, you're not going to hear from those people, and they're not going to reach out to you either. Okay, so let's get back into it, see what else she says.
Like the times, like prom, Mom had to ask a friend's son to ask me, and then he left early with another girl, which at the time I thought was hilarious. Because I could tell a story to my friends, and maybe that would be interesting. I haven't spoken to any of them in person. I'll see them on Instagram, but we've never hung out with any of my friends from high school. Same thing with college. I mean, it started senior year, but like, the second people started doing stuff on the weekends, I was always alone in my dorm room, watching all the other kids walk to the parties. I've never had a friend.
Now, her being alone in a dorm room, I'm not going to say that's necessarily her fault. Because like I said in the other video, some people just have social anxiety. And having anxiety like that, it could hinder your ability to make friends. It could hold you back from meeting people. Okay, you're scared of people, whatever. You're a little intimidated. That could hold you back from making friends. So like when you're in a setting like that, college or whatever. And another thing, the older you get, the more difficult it is to make friends. So let's say you're in grade school. It's much easier to make friends when you're in grade school than when you're out in the real world, okay? Because people are weird anyway. So when you become an adult and you try to make friends, it's a little more challenging. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm not going to say it's super, super difficult, but I'm going to say it's a little more challenging than it was when you were younger, okay? And I'm sure most of you can agree with this. It's a lot more challenging to make friends as a grown-up than when you were a kid or younger. So by her being in that situation, okay, she said she was in her dorm room while everyone else is going out, having fun, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I can understand, because you got anxiety. It's difficult for you to make friends. So, yeah. And even if someone tried to befriend you, you still got that anxiety. So a lot of times if you got social anxiety and people try to approach you, that just make your anxiety worse a lot of times. So not only are you faced with the issues of approaching people and talking to people, but if someone approaches you and you already have underlying social anxiety, yeah, that's going to make the situation a lot more difficult for you.
There's like no effort to try to change it. I mean, ever since I started applying to grad school, I gave up on trying to make friends here. And it's noticeable. My landlord, Elaine, keeps commenting on how all of her past tenants do things on the weekends, basically calling me like a friendless loser, which is true, but like, to hear her just say that to me was really hard.
Okay, so her landlord, Elaine, would make these comments saying that all of her previous tenants would be active. They would get out the house and do things. So I guess she would like make these little subliminal comments to this chick, and it hurt her, because she already felt as though she's lacking socially and she wanted to be active, but she's not really being active. But at the same time, this landlord don't realize that, some people just rather be home. Okay, I understand this young lady want to get out, but the landlord don't really know this girl's personality, so she just can't, she shouldn't be making these comments. Because in the other video I made, okay, the other female that says she don't like people, some people rather just stay inside the house, and some people don't require interactions, okay? And in the previous video that I made, I also mentioned how introverts, a true introvert, is perfectly fine staying inside the house and doesn't require stimulation from other people. So a true introvert would be perfectly fine staying inside, reading a book, okay, doing a solo activity. They don't have to get outside the house. They don't have to do all these other activities. So this landlord, she don't know if this girl is an introvert or what. She's just making these assumptions about her, saying, like the girl said, she's pretty much calling her a friendless loser. Well, this landlord don't really know this girl well enough to say that, hey, maybe she's an introvert. Maybe she just want to stay inside the house. Maybe she don't want to go out. Maybe she don't want to get involved in all these other activities. Because like I said before, if you're a true introvert, some of that stuff can just be draining, okay? Going to the club or whatever. It can be anything. Things that involve a large group of people, or it don't even have to be a large group of people. It could just be a handful of people. Someone that's an introvert will find that draining. And with that being said, they might rather just be home to themselves, doing their own thing. And they can have just as good of a time being alone than being with a crowd of people or engaging in these activities. So by this landlord saying this stuff to this girl, yeah, that's kind of messed up. Okay, she shouldn't have said that to her. Because like I said, for all this landlord knows, this girl could be an introvert that prefers to stay home. She'd rather not engage in these activities. Being home alone is perfectly fine. Okay, although this girl would rather go out and do things, this landlord doesn't really know her personality well enough to be making these comments.
I just don't know what's wrong with me. That I can't make it work. That I'm just lazy when it comes to making friends. I just want it to be easy, you know? When you just find that person that you're with all the time, and again, I'm not talking romantically. And it's been hard, especially with mom and dad, because before I would just talk to them because I had no one else. But now with all the divorce stuff, there's stuff I can't talk to them about.
So she mentioned how she's not exactly looking for a romantic relationship, but just a genuine friend. She's looking for a genuine friend, someone that she can rely on. And as you know, that's hard to come by. It's very hard to find genuine people like that. And she used to talk to her parents, her mom and dad, but apparently they're going through a divorce. So she can't talk to them like she could because they're dealing with their own trials and tribulations. So she used to turn to them and talk to them about all her problems, but they're dealing with their own problems now. So that just made it a lot worse for her. So really she has no one to communicate with.
I just feel so lonely. I'm just so lonely all the time. But I'm also terrified of it, and I also want to be alone. Like, maybe I'm just meant to be alone. Maybe some people are meant to just be alone. And I just feel like I'm expected to have people.
And that right there is a great point. She said she feels as though she's expected to have people. Society will expect you to have a circle of people. So when you're an introvert, when you're alone, they want to deem you as a loser. They want to deem you as weird or whatever terminology they come up with. And she made a good point. Expected to have somebody.
I don't know how to make friends, and I'm scared. I just want to run into somebody. I hate meeting people online. It's so awkward, and you put all this into a conversation, but when you meet someone, you don't have that I feel like I need to meet people. But I don't know how, and I don't think it's possible as an adult to just run into people.
And I had a few of you guys mention the same thing in the comment section, saying that you're introverted and you don't like the idea of meeting people. Even if it is online, you don't like meeting people because it places you in a very awkward situation. So I get what she's saying, and I get what you guys are saying too when you leave those comments. Let's go.
And I'm just gonna be sitting at home like I did all through high school.
A perfect example of that is in high school, for example. Okay, let's say you got the nerdy kid. Okay, he just keeps to himself. He don't really talk much. He don't really got friends like that. Okay, he might be smart and all this stuff, but he don't really hang out with people. He don't have no friends. Whereas you might have the knucklehead. Okay, the knucklehead might have tons of friends, but he's gonna be popular because he know a lot of people. Okay, he got a ton of friends and all this stuff. He's nowhere near as smart as the other kid. He's nowhere near as smart as the nerdy guy. But just because he got a huge circle of people, okay, people know him, people like him because of that, then yeah. So it's kind of like that in regular adult life too. I know this is high school we're talking about, the example I just gave you, but it's kind of like that in adult life as well. And it's sad. It's sad that it's like that. You know, you figure humans would be better than that, but no, that's not really the case. But let's get back into it.
I don't know how to make myself be more invested, and when someone texts, to text back immediately, and to just be excited about plans if they're last minute, and to not to say, oh, I want my alone time when I'm alone all the time. People keep saying it'll happen. You know, when I was in middle school, they said high school, and high school, they said college, and college, real life, and now I'm here. I think people are running out of excuses to tell me about why I'm stuck in this place.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there because that's pretty much the gist of the video. But yeah, she also mentioned that people make excuses, and like I said, people come up with all this stuff to comfort other people. Just like how we always talk about God and religion, how people come up with these lies because it's comforting. The lies are comforting. That's what they're doing in this case. Okay, they told her that just give it time, something will happen, and she listened to these people. You know, she waited, nothing ever happened. So she's starting to realize that it's just a lie. It's just a harsh truth. It's a lie that she's been told. Okay, and like I said, these people can say all these things, but are there really any true solutions? If she's an introvert and don't like talking to people, she don't like meeting people, what are the solutions for her? But yes, that is a very sad situation that she is in, and a lot of people are in similar situations. And then there's a lot of people that are alone, and they're perfectly fine being alone because they don't like people in the first place, and they rather be introverts. Just like the other video I made, there was another young lady that said she do not like people at all, and she rather stay home, she rather stay isolated and minimize her interaction with people. So there's people that are perfectly fine being alone and wouldn't want it any other way. But this young lady right here, I mean, it's just, that's tough. She says she want to meet people, but she don't like talking to people. So that's going to make it very difficult for her, just having that social anxiety and not being able to talk to people and not wanting to be able to meet people. That's going to make it difficult for her. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Do you understand what she's saying? Have you perhaps been in a similar situation? I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for tuning into the Hashad Show, and we'll catch you on the next one.